Welcome back, you guys. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a different video. I'm going to be talking about books that I have read, specifically non-fiction Christian books that I have read and been loving lately. Some of these I'm in the middle of. Actually, most of these I'm still kind of working my way through. And then I also have some audiobooks as well that I've been going through. So if you want to see this, then stick around. Okay, so the first book that I want to talk about that I read is this book right here, and it is called Honey for a Child's Heart by Gladys Hunt. And this book has really opened my eyes to just literature in general. And I originally found this on my father's world, and I looked at it so many times and wanted to get it, but if I have a hard time finishing a physical book. Like, I'm more of an audiobook person, so I just learn better that way. I can retain more information that way. And I was just like, every time I'd look at this book, I'd be like, am I really gonna read this? Like, I don't know if I'm gonna get through this book. And one day my best friend told me that she got this book and then she started reading it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna read it with you, and that will keep me accountable. And sure enough, it did. So that was fun to go through this book with her, and then we got to talk about our thoughts together about it, and it was just so good. I feel like her and I were both in this like legalistic mindset, maybe even some fear-based. I don't know about her fear-based, but definitely me. Had some like fear-based stuff too, and I feel like this book really helped me so much, kind of like open my eyes, and for one, not be so afraid to try a book out, even if we're like, okay, this is not for us, and then put it down. Like, it's okay. And two, not to be so legalistic when it came to books. Just a little background on me. When I first started like really walking with the Lord, I went to a legalistic church, and it was kind of cultish and had a lot of legalism in there. And I don't know, I had a very legalistic mindset about a lot of things. So I feel like this book helped me so much to not be so legalistic and fearful. So I was really even to the point where I wouldn't get any books unless they were on the Good and the Beautiful book list, because the Good and the Beautiful book list, they have like really high standards when they put books on there. And what I really love about their book list too is when they put a book on, they'll even like put little notes in there, like if it has magic or, you know, something that maybe a family might not like if there's sensitive stuff in there, they will tell you all of that so you can make a decision from there. So I used to only buy books from that book list, but you know, they don't have all the books on there. It pretty much talks about understanding the importance of reading aloud to children. Give your children a large view of the world of truth, of goodness. Encourage your child's imagination and good use of language. Teach your children about life's choices. Find the best books for your children. So I did read about, I don't know, a couple chapters in, and then I found it on Hoopla and I started listening to it, like when I would go on walks with my kids and stuff. But I'm still glad that I have the physical copy, and I got mine off Thrift Book for like $5. So what I like about having the actual hard copy is that in the back here, they have a list of books that they've really enjoyed, and it will have an age recommendation as well. So they have like a chapter for each like age recommendation, from like picture books all the way up to like, I think even young adult maybe, or like middle grade books. So I find this to be so helpful, and it's showed me books in here that, you know, maybe I didn't even know of, and I found them in here. So I really love this book. I highly recommend it. I give it a 5-star. Especially, I highly recommend it if you have like a legalistic maybe mindset about books, or like even a fear-based mindset like I had. I really feel like this helped break it, because, you know, even if a book is bad, you can still learn things even from bad experiences. And you don't have to finish the book if it's bad. Like, just put it down and get rid of it. So I feel like it really helped me in that area. The next, actually, you know what? I probably should have shared these two first, because these two I actually started last year, but I'm still going through them. So the first one is this one, Women of the Word. And I started reading this last year, and it's by Jen Wilkin. And I heard about this from my friend Megan over at Pennies and Salt. And this says how to study the Bible with both our hearts and minds. This book is so good. I got like halfway through this, and then I started like applying these principles, and then I kind of put the book down for a little bit, but I have to get back to it. And I did find it on audiobook too, but I like having the physical copy as well. There's just some books that I will have, like, I need to have the physical copy. So if I need to go reference something, I can come back to the book and look. Or I'll listen and read along at the same time. I'd like to do that as well, because then I can like highlight things or whatever. She talks about in this book how important it is to know like the history and the culture of, you know, when Jesus came and the early church and all of that, and how important it is to read scripture in its context. And oh my gosh, this book is just so good, like so good. And she even talks about how when you know the history and culture of something, like think about it, when you meet, you know, when you met your spouse, the more you got to know them and their history and, you know, maybe their background, the more you fell in love with them. So that's what she was talking about in here. Like, the more that you learn the history and of the Bible and all of that, the more you will fall in love with Jesus. This book is really good from what I have read. I give this book a 5-star if I haven't already said it. This next book here, I love this. It is called, I am like halfway through this one. Okay, I also started reading this. I got to like chapter 4, I think, last year, and there's just so much information in here that sometimes I need to just step back and chew on it for a while. Like, books like this, I have a real hard time finishing it at one sitting. Like, I'm like, I need a break, because I either get overwhelmed because I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta really do all this stuff, and then I look at the elephant instead of the bite sizes to take to get that elephant eaten. You know, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And I get overwhelmed, so then I have to like put it down and then come back to it. But this one is called Mama Bear Apologetics. And I started reading this, like I said, last year, and then I was telling my friend about it, and then she ended up buying it, and then I was like, well, let's read that together since you already bought it. I'm already this way through it, but I'll start over and we can talk about it. And she's like, okay. So we got about halfway through this, and then we were both like, okay, I need a break. Like, I was so glad that I wasn't the only one that needed a break. I'm like, I just need to soak this information in and take a little break, because it's a lot. Because I told you, I get really overwhelmed. And then I'm the type of person that, like, if I feel like I'm doing so many things wrong, or I want to change so many things at once, I'll get overwhelmed, and then I just like almost get depressed in a way. Like, I'll start to get anxiety and get depressed, and I'm like, I just can't, this is just too much for me. Like, how am I ever going to do this? So I have to take it in little bite sizes so that I can eat the elephant. Anyway, but this one, like I said, is called Mama Bear Apologetics, and it says empowering your kids to challenge culture's lies. And this, oh my gosh, this is so good. And this is by Hillary Morgan Ferreira. And I just watched a video not too long ago that she did. And she also just came out with the study guide. And I bought the study guide, but I haven't went through it yet. But when she was talking about it in the video, she said this is not like one of those study guides that pretty much repeats the same information in here. She said she really tried not to do that. Because what's the point of that? Like, you're just regurgitating the same information. So she was like, I didn't do that. Like, I really wanted to help you and give you a tool. So I don't even know. This, I just feel like this is so good. And this isn't even just for moms. Like, this book is for pretty much any woman. Like, any woman can read this book. So I highly recommend this. I give this book a 5 stars from the half of it that I have read, and I need to pick it back up and start reading it again. So this next book I actually heard about from this book, and it is Keeping Your Kids on God's Side, 40 Conversations to Help Them Build a Lasting Faith, and this is by Natasha Crane. I also have another book from her that I haven't got to yet, but I started listening to this one on audiobook, but again, I like to be able to have the physical copy because I just feel like there's so much good stuff in here that if I need to go back and reference something, I have the physical copy to be able to do so. But this one says, empowering your kids to respond well to the hard questions that threaten their faith. Encourage open dialogue on issues your kids might hesitate to talk about. Replace your child's doubts with the confidence only God's truth can give. Equip your kids to build the good thinking skills essential for today. This, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm like halfway through this book, and it is so good. So good. I mean, I highly recommend this book too. And this is so far a 5-star for me. Like, I just feel like all the stuff that she talks about in this is so good. And I also had to take a little break from this too, because like I said, I get overwhelmed a little bit. And I want to be able to like practically use this, but she has a podcast too, and it is really good. And Mama Bear Apologetics has a podcast as well. So I highly recommend going to check both of those out. So the next one I want to share is an audiobook, and it is Awaken Wonder by Sally Clarkson. And I think I got to like chapter 4 or 5. And then I picked up this book and I started listening to this one. You guys, I'm all over the place, okay? I know. But I actually like stopped that one for right now because the next one I'm going to share with you, I feel like I really needed more in the season of life I'm in. But Awaken Wonder is really good from what I have read or have listened to. And I just love Sally Clarkson. She is great. This one I've been wanting to listen to for, I don't even know, I feel like since she came out with it. And it's just really good. I feel like every mother should read that. I feel like Sally Clarkson has just so much wisdom, especially because she's like an older woman. So it's like that Titus 2 ministry where she's like pouring into the younger women. And she just has a wealth of knowledge and experience from her own walk of life with Christ, and, you know, I'm pretty sure she has 4 kids. I pretty much was listening to that one at night with my husband. And then I started listening to a couple other audiobooks that I kind of put that one on the back burner for a little bit. But then I started listening to this book, and I was like, I just need to eat this one up first, and then I can go back to the other one. And it is called Desperate by Sarah May and Sally Clarkson, and it is Hope for the Mom Who Needs to Breathe. And I am listening to this on Scribd. Okay, so if you've never heard of Scribd, it is awesome, okay? One of you actually shared this with me on one of my videos in the comments, and I am forever thankful. Okay, so it is a monthly subscription, and the monthly fee is $9.99. Okay, listen, I am in no way a monthly subscription person. Like, the only thing I've ever done monthly subscription was Let's Play School. Let me tell you, I followed Chelsea for like a whole year before I ended up signing up, because you're like locked in for a year, and I'm like, I can't commit. Like, I have commitment issues when it comes to subscriptions. Well, this I was able to get a 60-day free trial, and I was like, okay, if I can get 60 days free, I'm gonna do it. So I tried it, and I was like going on there and seeing what audiobooks they have. Man, they have a ton. And to me, like, I would never even do the Amazon Audible one, because I'm like, I'm not paying, what is it, like $12 or $14 a month for one book, because I think you only get one credit. I'm like, that just is, I don't think so. I'm not paying that much for an audiobook when I have Hoopla that I can use for free on my library card. And then if they just didn't have the book I was looking for, we just wouldn't listen to it. Oh well. So it is $9.99, and you get unlimited books, unlimited audio books from major publishers, unlimited magazines and news. So you guys, that's amazing. Okay, like I love this app. Like, I will definitely be doing this every month. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm sold. I have already listened to so many audiobooks on this that I am sold. And they have so many ones that my Hoopla app did not have. I will pay $9.99 a month, because I just feel like it is so worth it. And if you want to sign up and you want to try it out for 60 days, I will leave the link in the description box below, so you could check that out and try it out. I'm telling you, you probably will keep doing it too, because it is just so good. You guys, this book, it's amazing. And I really love how they set this book up. So it's pretty much like Sarah is writing a note to Sally Clarkson, and then or a letter, and then she writes them back. And she's asking her questions, like, I'm feeling overwhelmed as a mom, about all the things, okay, from keeping your house clean to being up with a nursing baby and feeling like you just can't do anything throughout the day because you're so exhausted, or having multiple little kids and just feeling so overwhelmed in your motherhood. And you need hope to breathe. And oh my gosh, this book is literally like a breath of fresh air. I have teared up on almost every single chapter, and I'm like, God, you're just so good. And just the way that Sally Clarkson responds back to Sarah, and then even tells her own stories through this, is so good. It is so good. This book is a 5-star, and I think I'm about halfway through it. Oh my gosh, I think every mother should read this. It is so good. A wealth of information and knowledge and wisdom. And what I also like about it, the physical copy, is after every chapter, it has one of these, what are these called? A QR code, and it will bring up a video on YouTube of Sarah and Sally, and they will talk a little bit more about that chapter. So this book is a must read, and it is so good. So good. Okay, so then the last book that I'm going to share with you, I actually also listened to this on Scribd. I listened to it on the unabridged version, and the one I'm going to show you right now that I have a physical copy, I actually found this at the thrift store for 37 cents, and it is the Young Readers edition. And I just wanted to listen to it and see what was all in it. Just to I don't even know. I was really interested in reading it. So I ended up reading it, and it's called Corrie ten Boom, The Hiding Place. And I actually didn't read it. I listened to it on audio. And like I said, I listened to the unabridged version. And oh my gosh, you guys, I have never cried after a book so much in my life. I literally was bawling my eyes out after reading this book. Oh my gosh, this book is amazing. Amazing. So this is a true story about Corrie ten Boom. And if you don't know her, she was a missionary, and she is absolutely amazing, okay? So pretty much in the beginning of this book, it talks about her life before, which I really like, having a little background of her life and stuff like that. And even through that, she watched her aunts suffer, her mom suffer, and and even through that suffering, how God, how close these people were to God, even through their suffering. And which I feel especially over here in America, people think that, being a Christian, because we don't get persecuted really that much over here, people think that, you just become a Christian and your life is fantastic. And no one thinks about, well, hello, Jesus told us to die to ourselves, pick up our cross and carry it and follow after him. And if you think about it, the cross represents suffering. Like, the cross represents suffering. So you're going to suffer in this life. That's why, Paul even talks about the suffering of this present time isn't even compared to the glory that will be revealed. And our hope isn't in this world. It is in Jesus. And that is who we should be keeping our eyes on to be able to finish our race well, right? Oh my gosh. You guys, this book, I have never cried so much at the end of a book. I bawled my eyes after I read this. And then I was like crying. So I was like Marcoing my best friend and like crying and I'm like, oh my gosh, like seriously, this book is so good. And she's like, I have to get it. I'm like, yes, you do, because I need to talk to somebody about it. And this really oh my gosh, this increased my faith, and it is so good. I think every Christian should read this book. And I will be reading this to my son. And then I have a Little Lights one that I'll be reading to my littler ones, because I think it would be better for them to read this. I think this is just probably going to be way too much on them, but my 11-year-old, he can definitely handle this. So this is back when Hitler was taking over. Her father owns a watchmaker shop and they live above it. And it kind of talks about their life prior and then up to, and them coming invading. And she was a Dutch woman, so she lived in, I want to say it was Holland. Did she live in Holland? The Netherlands? Their family made a whole, they took her room and they built a wall and they made a hiding place for their Jews in their house. Well, she kind of gets caught and has to go to I'm pretty sure it was well, first she went to jail, then they go to concentration camp, and she just talks about how horrible it was. I mean, you guys, you want to talk about suffering? Read this book. And through all of her suffering, it was, her faith was increased even more. And her, you would think that after being persecuted and all of this horrible stuff, people want to be well, how can God be in this? Or how is there a God if all of this bad stuff is happening? But no, her faith increased. It was amazing. Oh my gosh, this book is so good. I highly, 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 highly recommend this. This was definitely a 5-star for me. I think every Christian should read this, and probably all of the missionary stories. And I cannot wait to read even more stories about people's lives who are missionaries. I am so excited to just dive into missionaries and learning about them and all of the stuff that they have gone through. Because I think it's just something that will increase your faith. And I feel like this has really gotten me more interested too in learning more about history. I've been kind of reading some fiction stuff as well on World War II, and I don't even know, you guys. I feel like I didn't learn anything in history, so I am so excited I feel like, man, God is so good that he called me to be a homeschooling mom, because I'm I get to learn so much alongside my kids, and I think that's one of the best things of homeschooling is all the stuff I get to learn alongside my kids, because I feel like I didn't learn jack in public school. If you guys like this video, then make sure to hit that like button. And then if you have any questions or anything, leave them in the comments below. I will link all of these books in the description box as usual. And if you want to check out Scribd, make sure you check out the description box where I will leave the link for that. And if you enjoy videos like this, I would love to have you subscribed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a blessed day.